Hello everybody, welcome. I think all audio is working now. We should be able to hear Nathan. Nathan, can you say hello?
Hello.
Everybody can hear Nathan. Yes, well I can, and we'll assume that the rest of you can as well. Any complaints, you can come back and let us know. Yeah, thanks for turning up again tonight. Appreciate, as always, everybody coming to listen to me talk shite. That's basically it. We sit here, we talk shite, we get people on, we get other people to talk shite. I appreciate anyone who's come across from Nathan's channel. I know he's been a very busy man. He had just finished a debate, discussion, whatever it was. Sometimes people, you know. But yeah, Nathan, if you want to just do yourself a wee shill and we'll work from there. Let everybody know who you are.
Yeah, so for me, I started my YouTube channel a while ago. I guess I was putting some things up when I was doing jiu-jitsu and stuff, but then I became a Christian around about 2 years ago. I got big into apologetics because I thought, I'm interested in philosophy anyway, and I wanted to understand why it was that I believed what I did, and I wanted to defend it. I also thought that people who didn't believe were going to hell, so I wanted to, use reason to try and convert people to Christianity, basically. So I thought my YouTube channel could be a great way of doing that. As I was going to start, a ministry trainee from my church was telling me stuff about that my, I'd been deceived by Satan into thinking that my rationality could be used in this way. It was all like a trick. So he was like, you've just got to do something that'll get to people's hearts. So I put like my testimony of my conversion up there because I had a pretty weird life. And then, yeah, I was seeing in the chat there that I'm a blue belt in BJJ, not white belt. So yeah, I put my personal testimony up there, and then I had a few Christians reach out to me to talk to me about things, and then I ended up talking to Doug on Pinecreek channel where he does street epistemology, and that caused me to doubt basically what I believed. I went on this big journey of introspection to the point now where I wouldn't describe myself as a Christian anymore, kind of pulling out of all that stuff. And now I think what I'm doing on my YouTube channel is just trying to promote promote reason. Maybe I'll put some philosophy videos out there or some theology. Maybe I will put some other videos of other things, but I'm just kind of having fun with it. I don't know exactly what it's going to become or what it is.
So your YouTube channel was originally started as going to be like an online ministry, and it's now become you disagreeing with Christians online. Is that right?
Almost, yeah. Well, yeah. I thought I saw some of the videos basically done by some atheist YouTubers, and I thought like this is a really bad representation of the arguments and stuff. But I didn't realize I wasn't like realizing my own bias in the way that I was, because I was seeing everything as us versus them. As soon as I'd like hear something from the atheist point of view, it went through that filter and I wouldn't engage with it, honestly, I think. So yeah, I guess now I'm trying to just think through things as honestly as I can and have good conversations with people or anything else that comes up.
Yeah, well, that's it, man. That's just something similar to what we're trying here. Only yours is a wee bit higher level than mine with your philosophy and all that there. We will give you credit. But yeah, it's people are just absolute disasters. Everybody wants, as you say, me or you, my team, your team. And it's creating really right up the middle. And that's what we're trying to create here, is a bridge for people to, try and get things sorted, try and have the conversation. Because if everybody fights with each other, then nobody will talk to each other. That's the fucking problem. How do you have the conversation if nobody will talk to you?
Yeah, and it is like that. It's very, very tribal. I was just talking about this with the last people I was talking to, where I've even seen it in not wanting to identify as a Christian anymore. It's like, well, I also don't want to go towards that end of atheism where everything's equally as tribal in like a different fundamental way. I think there's is a middle ground where you're just honestly thinking about these things. Maybe you have beliefs and opinions that disagree. That's fine, but it's like realizing as much as possible that you're basically an ape who wants to have certainty in a group to galvanize against and stuff like that, and trying to reduce the harmful effects of that element of psychology.
Would I be right in saying as well that you're actually formally studying this too, like?
I'm doing a software engineering degree part-time and working full-time at the minute, but I am planning on hopefully going into do philosophy academically, or theology or something. We'll see how my life pans out over there.
I'm sure V in the chat will keep you right. Every strong man
Yeah.
has a stronger woman behind him. She'll keep you right. She's doing really well with the Carl bot. Like she's
Oh yeah.
yeah, she's picking that up left, right, and center. There is so many triggers. You're gonna have a fucking hard time having to remember them all. That's the problem when you create so fucking many. But here, do you give everybody out there, man, some idea of who you've talked to? Like you have talked to, well, I say big names. I'm not going to put this person in there with big names, but you have spoken with people like pinecreek. You've spoken with Aron Ra. You've spoke with SJ. You've spoke with Craig Reed. You know, you've got your fingers out there, and you're not afraid to get in and have the conversation. Like.
Yeah, I think one of the pinecreek was really the first kind of bit. I also have a video with Jonathan McLatchy which only has 38 views, so I spoke to him as well. But then I think Paul van der Clay, he's got around 13,000 subscribers. Gregory Sadler, he's got something like 70 to 90,000.
Yeah, well, as somebody just said in the chat, pinecreek only has 6,500. It's not really.
Yeah.
Like, don't get me wrong, getting over 1,000 helps with the algorithm. But once you get past that, if you've got 6,000 people and only 30 views, you know, it doesn't make any difference. But if you go to pinecreek's, any of his live views or any of his live streams, they're bunged. You know, they're bunged to the throat. So his
the
views,
engagement's up here, like
his engagement is way higher. So fuck the damn bit, you know. It's nice to get subs and hit that sub button and all that crack, but people like pinecreek doesn't matter. He's going to get the views, he's going to get everything, because the man is intelligent, and I very, very much like his critical mind, the way he actually attacks things, and he has them wee phrases that he uses. You know, he'll come up with something midstream and he'll be like, oh, yes, don't forget to ask the Christians this, you know, and come up with a wee question. And
I think from like a rhetorical point of view, he's got that thing where he can he can just deliver stuff in that right way. And I do think I think he's aware of this, that there's this psychological fear around him now, like in the Christian community. So it's like, oh, and pinecreek just turned up in the chat and he's doing some of that street epistemology, like nervous laughter and stuff. It's quite funny, and I think he thrives off that and enjoys it.
Do you watch Anthony Montabasco?
Magna Bosco.
Yes. I would watch a wee bit of him now every now and again. He's quite good as well. Does the street epistemology, and I like he just sits there and just waits for people to walk past and pounces on them in the nicest possible way.
Yeah. I've really enjoyed it. There's a load of street epistemology channels that are like popping up, and the format's quite fun. People just kind of going out there with like a GoPro and a mic, basically, and it's really interesting conversations. And I think what's interesting is if you've got one of these beliefs where you're really, really confident in it, you can go and watch like these people having conversations with other beliefs. So if you're like, oh, these people are under the power of Satan, they're just trying to, but then you see that they're doing the same about vaccinations, or if you're like the vaccination person, you can be like, oh, they're doing it about religious belief as well. So it's not, it's an unbiased thing. It's just a tool. It's not like this horrible devil thing or whatever like Christians kind of think it is.
Yeah, I think is it London that does that big in the park, an open conversation where everybody can come up and talk. I think Aron Ra did
like speaker's corner type thing.
Corner type thing in a park, like, you know, where everybody's just standing around and somebody's spouting one thing and there's a group of people, and if you want you can walk up and just challenge them there and then. Which would be very interesting. Like, it's on the fly sort of thing, you know. It's not so much street epistemology. It's more, you know, back and forth. What you do but in real life, standing in front of the person, being able to read their body and back and forth, and having an actual real life audience too, you know.
Yeah. Well, I've said, but some of the difficulty is, so this is why I don't really like debates and stuff as well, is because of people who are extroverted or really good with rhetoric. Like if you watch someone like Mohammed Hijab, for example, he's absolutely full of shit, but he's so confident and like it, you know, it just blah, 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 and like, you know, you can't really discuss the issues, or you know, like I think it'd be very easy to come across as like losing to someone like that because of the you know, just the way they deliver and themselves being louder.
Totally get that, man. I work in sales and back and forth. Like I work with cars and stuff, but you have to sell people things. And you know, even today, it's a black-faced lie. Now, it was true maybe a year ago, but the person walked in and was talking about these tires and wasn't so sure about spending the extra money. And I was like, look, I drive an ST. I have them on my ST. If they're good enough for me, they're good enough for you. And they were like, oh well, if you, and then you get the sale. No, that's a lot, but it is, as you said, speaking with confidence and portraying yourself like that. You can get away with an awful lot, especially in the sales. Excuse me, still getting over a wee bit of a cold. I blame the daughter. She got it up where she lives and brought it down and infected me. I usually don't get infected with a cold, but she's part me, so she's probably made me more susceptible. But sorry, go on ahead.
I was going to say something I realized when I bought my car, right, was... and I cringe about this so much after I realized it, that I was trying to like haggle them. So I've been like, they kind of knew that I wanted the car, but I was like pretending that I knew shit that I didn't know. Yeah. So I could be like, like these Japanese chassis, you know, the salt corrosion underneath and some shit like that. Like I know what I'm talking about. I need £500 off. And I remember that this guy was like, oh yeah, and we'll do everything for, and it's a diesel, right? And he goes, yeah, we'll do everything for you. You know,
Nathan, I'll be back in 1 second. My dog's going buck mad at the back door here. I need to let him out. If you can entertain these people for 5 minutes, all right?
I will entertain them with the rest of this story.
I do want to hear that story show.
Maybe any questions in the chat or anything? Then while we wait. We've got bravado is a good descriptor. Yes, Darken, that's the right word. Thank you. Harley, you've made it here. Hello, Doorknob Head. MathPig is a car salesman. That only makes sense. Yeah, change the spark plugs in the diesel. You see where the story's going. You see where the story's going, but I've got to wait for MathPig to... But I was so embarrassed after that. Sing, dance. Am I agnostic? Yes, basically. Yeah. I wouldn't... I shift around. Where's Holly's dream? Please pull a random book off your shelf and read it to us. Here we go. Where is it? Susie. Is it Susie? Susie's something. Oh, where's it gone? What page was it, V? What page was Susie's thing? Why do I look like Legolas? I don't know. Let's see. He was sitting at the concert, looking around, waiting for the thing to start. The place was a bit of a dive. Not the best place, but not the worst either. Just another featureless multi-purpose arena, built on the cheap, lined with hard plastic seats, bolted into concrete. He looked down and saw that his own seat had been vandalized by a lighter. He looked at the floor. It was dotted with circles of chewing gum, all blackened by footprints and dirt. And he knew that there was a crushed can of Sprite under his seat that the cleaners either hadn't spotted or couldn't be bothered picking up. No, it wasn't the worst of places, but it wasn't exactly deluxe, and it was a far cry from what this chap was used to. The Royal Albert Hall. That's what he was used to. That's the kind of place where you were more likely to see him. Well, this time last year anyway. There he'd be in one of his those private boxes with champagne on ice by his side, dressed in a suit that cost more than your motor, before leaving at the end of the night in a motor that cost more than your house. The high life, that's how he liked to spend his money. That's what drove him to earn it. He wanted the best life, the finest in life. Food, wine, the company that he kept, the watch that he wore, the yacht. He was a man of extremes, the uppermost prestige and taste. That's what he was all about, all that. Somebody behind him burped, then a woman laughed. He wondered if they were drunk, and it worried him, but he relaxed when he realized they probably weren't. It just wasn't the done thing at a concert like this. There were children here, families, couples, nice people, chatting away or singing songs or just sitting quietly, arm in arm. It was all very civilized, just the way he liked it. He turned around for a glance and saw that the couple looked as sober as anybody, sucking up their big plastic cups of Diet Coke. That's all right then. He felt overly sensitive, but he just didn't think it would be good to have people like that around him, drunks or worse. Not that he was a prude, far fucking from it. See, there had come a point when he got tired of the high life. After all, a wine could only be so fine. A good suit could only be so good. A watch was a watch was a watch. He'd reached the top. There was no place higher. And for a man of extremes, there was only one place left to go. Down. He was never one for drugs, so it began with gambling. Huge stakes on red or black, huge losses, huge wins. The thrill of it. And with the thrills came the thrill seekers, the hangers-on, the vultures circling the guy, blowing all his cash. Then finally, fuck it. Then came the drugs. Then came the drugs. The yacht parties, the pills, the coke, the crystal meth. Morning, noon and night, all around the clock. He'd wake up with everything gone, everything taken, and do it all over again. He torched the yacht. His posh mates turned their backs on him. He was turned away from places he'd been going to for years by doormen he was on first-name terms with. There were fights and black eyes. He was an outcast, free-falling, on a collision course with rock bottom. He got in his motor one night and went looking for a wall to crash into or a bridge to fly off of. He'd reached the highest heights and the lowest lows, both extremes. What else would a man like him do? The lights in the concert began to dim. The crowd cheered, then settled. The band were about to come on. The band that saved his life.
I'm back.
Hey, man.
I'm so sorry about that, man. So sorry.
That's all right. Don't worry.
Well, yeah, you were entertaining my crowd, yeah?
Oh, yeah. They wanted to hear a book, so I started reading from Limmy's Deaf Wee Stories.
Well, that seemed to have worked, because when I left, there was 14 people watching, and now there's 22, so you must have a very sexy
really
voice.
Yeah, so the guy goes, this is with the car that I was going to buy.
Yes.
And the guy goes, oh yeah, we'll change the spark plugs and everything, and it was a diesel. And I was like, yeah, and you'll definitely change the spark plugs, and oh, for fuck's sake. And then I realized afterwards, after I'd bought it, I was like, shit, like they were feeding me lines, so they knew that I didn't know what I was talking about. And I just never cringed so hard. And like, I got the car and they'd put the shittiest crap tires on it and everything, and like, I just didn't even want to, like, I got screwed over by you car people. But I'm not, I realized that you car people are playing a game and you're very good at it.
Well, in saying that, man, I find that being honest, actually, I would manipulate to a point, like, you do want to make the sale at the end of the day, and I would sell a wee bit sooner than what the law says. But the law says 1.6. The law says 1.6 in a tire. Safety wise is 3 mil. If you, just for talk's sake, are doing 60 mile an hour and you hit the brakes where you would have stopped at 3 mil, you'll not only not stop, you'll hit that person at 30 mile an hour. That's a fact, and that's true. And I still hold the best sales record for the tips at work. I made 80 quid in tips in one day. I still hold that record for the last 6 years. So people love me, man. People love me. Well, I don't want to interrupt from your book. How did it go down, the book conversation? Or what was the book itself that you were reading while I was gone?
Oh, it's so there's a guy called Brian Limond. He's one of my favorite comedians. He's kind of like a cult comedian. He's Scottish, and he does all these weird sketches. But he's got a book called Deaf Wee Stories, and they're all pretty funny. They're kind of like a bit weird, and then you get to the end. Like, there's one about this long story about this woman called Susie, and then it goes through, like, she's going to like MRI scans and stuff to figure out what's going on, and then there's something that happens where she's like shedding a skin. So every 3 months she's shedding a skin, and she gets a bit smaller every time. And so she's going through all these doctors and specialists, and it gets to the last page of this like little story, and it goes, you see, and eventually she was so small, smaller than like the tiniest atom, smaller than this and that. Can you imagine it? And you see how small that is? That's your dad's cock.
Well, that's the Scottish humour. Like, I'm sure you are from England. I don't know if anyone's picked up on his accent, but he's obviously from the UK. You've seen the Scottish guys with the voice recognition in the elevator.
No.
Oh, you haven't? Oh, well, whenever we go off stream, man, you know, how long have we got you for? Are you up for an hour now, and then maybe a wee while afterwards?
If sure. Around an hour or so from here, it's good.
Yeah. And then, oh no, you need to look that up, man. It's two Scottish guys trying to do voice recognition in an elevator, and they want to go to 11, and it's 11, and then it's hilarious. It's hilarious. Definitely need to watch it. Scottish humour is very, very blunt, straight to the point, and. Yeah, we would have something similar to that over here. I was accused today as well of being blunt with someone, and then they were all, you know, I'm not annoying you. And I'm like, no, I'm just busy and I'm being blunt. That's just the way I am. I don't have the time to be nice. I'm just telling you the way it is and I have to get back to work. That's, deal with it. I'm just blunt. I find it's best to be blunt with people. It cuts down in real life hassle because they usually leave you alone. They don't want to listen to you then.
Yeah, I agree. Like, so last week when we were back was meant to be the first day back at uni, but there was no there were no lectures or labs or anything, so I just did work all day, but didn't waste 2 hours going to and from uni. And the bastards emailed my manager at work saying, oh, he wasn't in that day. And I just said to him this morning, look, there were no labs or lectures. If they've got a problem, just send them an email saying we can have a fight and sort it out that way. And I feel like that's an appropriate way of conducting yourself at work, because then people just know where you're at, and you know, there's no
bullshittery.
No bullshit.
Yeah, it's just straight, better, and you know, it takes too much to lie and cover your ass and all that there, and just it's easier just to say it up front, get it over and done with.
You keep lying about things like that, and before you know it, your whole life's just this like bullshit character that you are so out of touch with, and you just killed yourself to like, yes sir, no sir, all that. Yeah,
you need to stand up for yourself. In certain retrospects and in certain places, you definitely need to stand up for yourself. That's what's... I don't want to make a complaint about what's wrong with it. Fucking sound like an old man, but you know, there's a lot of kids out there, man, you know, now that can't get nothing done for them. It's like, oh, poor wake the fuck up, and life's shit. Sometimes life is fucking shit. It's just the way it is, and you need to just get the fuck on with it and get on with yourself. But so Nathan, you've been sort of hovering around in the corner. There was a guy in the chat earlier, or girl, whoever, although their name is Steve, didn't know who you are, and like, I find I didn't know who you are up until about 3 weeks ago.
Okay.
You know, Tony came to me and says this man might need a Discord. Yes, the Discord thing. So I went and gave the man a Discord, and been very much enjoying the conversation with you. And I feel like you've just been rating in the radar. I had no idea you were out there, man. It's you're like a wee snake going underneath. You always go onto other people's channels. Are you going to start hosting debates and discussions actually on your own? I know tonight, just before here, you were OBS and the one between the Twitter one. Some people in the chat will probably know. Who are you talking to?
I don't even know who those people were. That, like, I genuinely got this Twitter message off them, and I was like trying to talk to them, and it was just such. It was very weird. Like, I was like, have you got a link for the stream? And then they said yes, and then there just wasn't a reply for like a couple of hours or something, and then they just weren't there.
Purple pill philosophy. They weren't
streaming it. What? Sorry.
Purple pill philosophy.
Yeah, that was it. It was all very, very strange, the setup. But yeah, I guess on my channel, what I'm trying to do is I'm up for having more like conversational style debate things with people. I guess maybe just talking about things, doing reviews of debates and stuff. I might make some shorter videos as well. I've not really thought much about what I'm doing, because I'm just doing it mostly for my own enjoyment in my free time at the minute. But if I knew how to like put together, edit a good video or whatever, I probably would. But I'm just no good at reading a script and do it, you know, all that.
Yeah, I hate reading a script. But before I had my first video, I don't think I've said this before online, so I'll not be repeating myself. But when I was hoping to get the channel, you know, I was going to have some conversations. I was going to release a wee bit of edited content, you know, and sort of back and forth, and because I'm sick of being in the fucking chat, you know, and.
Okay.
I was writing a script, and I sort of the trailer for my very first trailer that came up was what was it? Politics, religion, science and discussions. That's what I was aiming for on the channel, because that's what I would be, have my enjoyment in, is these topics, and that's what I was aiming for. We've had very little science on the channel. We've had lots of discussions, but we've had very little science. I even got Scientist Mel on, if you know of Scientist Mel, and we didn't even talk science. She is a science channel, and we talked about very little science, and then I think for about 3 hours afterwards, we offline, me and her got drunk and just listened to music. We didn't even talk about science then.
Yeah.
But
I agree. Like I started out thinking, well, like I say, I thought it was going to be like an apologetics channel for a while. I even was doing, if I go back to some of my oldest stuff, I've got a podcast where I talked to a bunch of people for a while. There's just a whole host of weird kind of things going on. And I guess just whatever I find fun and I'm interested in, I'll keep doing on there.
Yeah, well, it depends. You'll get into the more conversations, man. I think that's what I was trying to convey, is the editing is fun, but the sitting and doing a script is no good. I had an idea for a video. I sat down, I tried to write a script. I asked another science channel to give me a hand and all, and it just did not work. Yeah. If the script doesn't suit you, it's probably best if you go, just go the way you are, and you're talking, and that's what you're doing. You're jumping into conversations, you're having the crack with people, and if that's your shtick, then I would advise you to just stay with it and just, try and get people on. And you really know, you do know your shit, man. You surprise me sometimes. Like, I know 101 philosophy, but I couldn't even attempt to debate SJ or even Craig Reed or anything like them. SJ wouldn't come on the channel. And to be honest, I knew of Craig Reed, but I've never thought, of his YouTube channel or looking him up on Twitter or anything like that. They're just... I do it for fun as well, but yeah, I just talk shit.
I think there's just so much like to it all though, like, and I think that formal debate format, I don't know if I'd ever want to do that or give it a go. I guess with like with regard to those formal type videos, I might give it a try, but I've just always found when I read a script as well, it feels so unnatural to me. When people make these videos on a particular topic and they've got cool graphics and stuff, it just feels weird to me to do that. Whereas this type thing, and I think it's cool, I think the chat kind of makes this format as well, because people get involved and you get a bit of a community with people and they get to know you and you get to know them a bit, and it's interesting. And I don't know. I don't know if it's something more recent or this has been going on for longer, but I've certainly found through like Modern Day Debates channel, Tjump, pinecreek and stuff, there's a lot of these people knocking about who are following, running in similar circles and interested, and it's a bit more of maybe a community aspect than just uploading videos and hiding behind the channel.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with you there, man. Like, I watched YouTube for maybe a year or so before finding the community, and only watched videos. I watched Dark Matter 2525. Have you seen him?
Oh, no, I've not.
Oh, you should definitely watch the Power Corrupt series. He's writing a book on it. Definitely book stamp Dark Matter 2525, man. He puts this sort of conversation and arguments that we're having in a cartoon form, but a very serious cartoon form in the Power Corrupts. The whole God and Jeffrey thing, they're like fill-in gaps, but the Power Corrupts theory, definitely watch it. But I was saying, yeah, and then the live thing. The live thing really does add a community. It adds that other aspect. There's people in the chat now that I would actually consider my friends, more so than I would people in the real life. Shout out for Spooky and Nerdy and Doorknob Head and Angie and Orla's in there too. And there's people in the chat that I would entrust with my life. That's how well we've got to know each other over this last year. And only maybe in this last 6 months have we started seeing each other, with the camera that I have here and stuff now.
Yeah,
maybe
sure.
I've seen them before, but they're only starting to see me. And even at that, just that there are people on the other side of the internet, there is these, we cross over. We're everywhere. There's some of us that's in every chat and always need to have a live going in the background to feel involved. I dare you to try and out-woof Critical Cripple. Anytime anybody goes live, Critical Cripple, first in the chat, woof. Say woof. Straight into the chat, everywhere. And I hope that you can join our little community that we have. And bring in Christians, man. You're my get-go to Christians. I'm going to abuse your connections now.
And I do actually. I also think like the whole Discord thing's really interesting. You know, like because you get people kind of continuing the chat over there and going into voice chat sometimes, and it's a whole different dynamic to social media uh, than just sitting behind you know, like a Twitter handle or something like that. I think it's really it's interesting because you are getting to know people, or it's maybe social media technology, it's breaking down those barriers a bit more for people.
What I like about Discord as well is it also can not build barriers, but the fact that you only have to deal with so many people if you want to. That's what I like about it. It's a, you know,
Right.
you don't have to give your password out if you don't want to. You don't have to let people in. You know, I had one for a year before I started letting it out. There was only maybe 16 or 17 of us in there, and we just all chatted amongst ourselves and bitched about other people and things like that, you know. But it's definitely a format to give people a chance to keep the conversation going outside YouTube. It's a great addition to the YouTube channel. A lot of gamers use it. I think that's what originally came in from, was for VC and gaming and things like that. But you can do everything on it. You can do absolutely everything on it. Yeah, drop the link to the Discord you want, Nerdy. And VC, you can also do video calls on it, man, as well. So if you were really stuck and that person had a mobile phone and were on your Discord, as long as they're friends with you, you can set up a call hangout and you can just OBS that. So, you know, anything at all. It really can do everything. I just hate Facebook. Twitter, I'm starting to get into. I can't navigate Twitter. Like, I know that somebody made a comment because I had the notifications at the top of my phone. But fuck, could I find that comment to make a reply to it? It was like, where is it? Where's this? Is it Thread that they refer to it as?
Yeah, I think Twitter thread is the right terminology. Yeah.
Yeah, I think they're threads. But yeah,
I don't know.
It's fun.
I agree though. Like, and the problem I find is, you know, when with text, like you just get these endless strings of people debating and arguing back and forth, and a lot of the time, bunch of the arguments being made are really shit. There's a lot of people who are just crazy, and I feel like face to face, you can, like, if someone can't put a sentence together, like when you're talking to them, you can just be like, oh yeah, it's all right, and just whereas with those like text things, you just have like, you know, you just have like days worth of hundreds of notifications of like of people going back and forth, and like maybe neither of them has a clue, and you're just like, can you please stop tagging me in the argument that you've got going on here about some nonsense thing I don't care about. And so I don't like those formats as much, because that just seems to happen every day. Like, I come back and there's a load of notifications where two people have been arguing. It's always about God, always.
Yeah, that being notified because you get tagged in the very start, then you get tagged in every last thing. I noticed that today there was a conversation going on that I was in the first two messages and then not at all, and it was like, well, I don't need that shit. It's no. Twitter, I'm not fucking 70 Veracruz. I'm just new to Twitter. I've had an account for ages, but I'm only new to Twitter. It's where all the cool kids hang out. Although I do try and avoid the arguments. I don't get involved in the arguments. I just talk to people and promote the channel a wee bit. I think it's 35% of the drags that comes to my channel comes from Twitter. So
I think, yeah,
it's good to get it out and get promoting and use all this stuff for your advantage. Do not let it drag you down. You know, Twitter is known as a hell. I'm only having good fun on Twitter, but then I'm not getting involved in that. So it's the same with Discord. You only get involved as much as you want. Do not stress yourself out. You made me asking what age you are. I'm 36, as people know.
Yeah, I'm 23. 23 in October last year. So
a wee baby.
Makes me feel a bit young. I feel really old now, though. Like 23 feels like.
Shut up. We've got 50s and 60-year-olds in the chat here. Okay, shut up.
Yeah. No, seriously though, like I feel like 22 was like, you know, like that's still kind of the same bracket as 18, whereas 23 feels. I feel like there's a chunk, like 23 to 35 or something. Like that's like a chunk, and I've entered that chunk.
People say you're an adult when you hit 18. I don't think you're an adult till you're 21. So yeah, you're just into adulthood, in my opinion. Like, you know, just a wee baby. I went mad till I was 21.
Sorry, you.
No, and just that was it. You know, people say you're 18. Whenever you turn 18, you realise, fuck, I've been a kid for all my life and now I've got access to adult things. And then you go and enjoy the adult things a bit excessively for probably a couple of years. And then when you're 21, you find your balance. You're like, right, we can chill out now and I know how much I can drink. I've got maybe got yourself a girlfriend and yeah, you know, you're doing all right at 21.
Yeah, I don't think like I think 18 is definitely still a kid, and I think even at 23 there's people who are still kids. It just depends. Like everyone matures at different rates and has different kind of, you know, like that's people can fall along this standard kind of avenue and then they don't really figure out themselves until a bit older because they're just kind of going along with the program, so to speak, until something goes wrong or something.
Especially with the way the education system is. Yeah, you come out of school and you're like, right, what do we do now? Get a job. What do we do then?
Yeah.
Get a wife. It's that scene from Fight Club.
Yeah. I noticed this so much. Like, it is literally like they just fucking plug you into the university system almost at the sixth form. I was, you know, like they plug you in and then they just shit you out. And the thing is, these kids don't actually have a concept of how long or difficult it is to earn like £60,000. So they just go £60,000 in debt because it's the done thing. And it's absolutely like the whole system is so insane and corrupt. And then everyone is just like in random jobs that.
Yeah. And it's even worse in America. You know, student debt is even more rife in America. Over here, we can get a wee bit of a bursary and a wee bit of a help and stuff. And I went to Queen's in Belfast to do physics, maths and advanced maths for a year. Life, been through that. It's been on the channel going, look. And I got a wee bit of a bursary. Now, for that, the bursary I got was only $2,500, but that covered my rent. So that meant that I didn't have to worry about my rent. I just had to worry about food and other stuff after that. But at least over here, you can get that, you know. It was a wee tiny help. So I left university only owing 20, or, you know, my bursary paid my rent, then I took a loan out of $3,000. So I left owing $3,000, which wasn't much. But even at the end of that, if you did that for 4 or 5 years, it's only $15,000. You could do that in USA, and Jesus, you could be up into 100,000 that you would owe. And they get paid less when they come out for random jobs like McDonald's and things like that. It is completely corrupt, as you say. It is. The education system is a disaster.
Well, the system's so fucked as well because then what these universities become is like they're all centered around expecting that amount of revenue and intake and stuff, and then it's got nothing to do with like contribution to knowledge or thinking about it. It's just like this big business system, and it's nuts. I really don't like that that's the way it is. But
is it working for you though? You know, you have a part-time job and you have your studies.
Mine's what's called like a degree apprenticeship. So like but I actually think, I think for me, it's kind of like screwed up. Because I think I'm someone who is quite suited to academia. Like if I had the opportunity now to just read books all day, I would absolutely love it. And I feel like because I have to work, because all my knowledge is like constrained by what the company is paying for, basically, well, then I don't have the time to go deep into like theoretical, like how are these languages really working, or what are the frontiers of computer science? How can I think about? I can't do any of that because it's just about practical, day-to-day, mundane. For you know, like do the same thing a million times, and I think that I actually get really resentful of people who have the best 8 hours of their day to like have lectures and research stuff, because everything's always, for me, like I'm just burnt out from work, and that's my time to like have, I don't know, people have it the same, I guess, when they're trying to work and support themselves in uni full time. But I still, for me, wish I could have like gone down that proper route into uni.
I feel like, you know, I've learnt more since I left university than I ever could have learnt in school, because I found that university was very it didn't suit my style of learning. You know, I was predicted 4 A's. I did 4 A levels: chemistry, maths, biology, and science, or chemistry, maths, biology, and physics. So I'm not stupid, you know. But the education system it didn't suit me. I need to be pushed. I need to always be on the go, and it felt. I'm not going to say that the fucking education system was too slow for me, but it was boring. It wasn't.
No, it's constrained. It's like you don't learn that way. I think I think there's no real scope for people to think within it. It's literally just like it's like a sausage grinder kind of thing.
Yep. There's no individuality. There's no right. Let's look at how this person learns and what they're good at, what they've an interest in, and what they could enjoy. No, let's teach them something that came on a UCAS form because they did well because their maths said you need to pick a good A level.
Yeah, it's exactly like that. And I guess in some senses, I am glad that I didn't get caught up in that and end up with a lot. You know, like I could have had a lot of debt and been in a worse position. So I guess like by comparison, I'm happy.
Yeah, you have a wee bit more freedom, but a wee bit more freedom to do what you want to, you know.
Yeah. I was just looking at something in the. I have no idea what's it about specifically. Oh, I think some people talking about that last conversation I just had in the Discord. I don't know.
Yeah, we'll go for it, man. Talk more about yourself. At the end of the day, this is about you. You know.
Yeah, sure.
Tell me why. Like, you know, what made you convert back to being a Christian? You've told us that Pinecreek helped you get you out of Christianity. But what you like? Were you raised like England over here isn't as fundamentalist as over there, as over in the United States? So were you raised in a Christian background, raised in just like a standard, normal, go to church on a Sunday and nobody really cares, or what made you find God? And I said that really derogatory, but
I mean, I don't think I wasn't really exposed or raised in it much, other than like the normal what's there in culture generically kind of thing. And that being said, it's always been pretty secular for me growing up. I think that a lot of it is trying, you know, like around that age range, like 18 to 23 as you become an adult, trying to make sense of the world. I think for me as well, trying to deal with suffering and depression, like some things that can provide, like you can have this grander picture of reality that might help to deal with it in some ways. I also think I was in a relationship that was getting serious, and for example, not enjoying my job and stuff. And I just wanted I wanted to make sense of things, and Christianity helped to do that. It was like, here's this throwback to the good old days where, you know, like you have kids and a wife dead young, and
the
you go
white
to
picket
church.
fence, 1950s America, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Kind of, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, and it just makes sense of life, and I think that a lot of that really made a psychological impression on me. And then I think after that, I was trying to find the reasons why it could be true, or and there's obviously elements of like group psychology and pressure and stuff that came in. I don't know if like, because I think back to when I was like, no, like I don't believe a person actually can rise from the dead, or that, like, you know, like all these pigs ran off the edge of a cliff, or talking
Leave the pigs out of it.
donkey, or you know, like I was never like, I thought all this stuff was weird. I don't know why I eventually accepted it. I guess it must just be like when you start going on a Sunday and having this message drilled into you, and the markers you get from people around you in conversation, like you'll say something and it deviates from what you're meant to think, and so you realize, no, you can't think that way. It's got to be this one.
Yeah.
And I think then, like, that happens every weekend or whatever, and maybe in the week as well, and you just become this conformed, like socially conformed set of beliefs that you adopt and stuff. I don't know. I guess that's how I
totally understand where you're coming from. That was something very similar to me at a wee younger age. Like, you know, I left when I was about 11, but that was it. A couple of times on the Sunday, hanging out during the week, and, you know, with people of the same group, and it does build that into you, and you also build up a group, you know, a community, which is what we have here as well, but we don't have any of the religious baggage behind it. But it's the sense of community that's also good.
Yeah, and I think people, there's all sorts of weird things going on within that framework because of the religious aspect, where it's like, you know, certain individuals have to have answers, they have to have certainty, or if they're less moral, they've got this power and authority. So if they're narcissists or something like that, they can manipulate and coerce people with the position and the authority that they've got, and this book backing them up. And it's all very, very strange. And I do think that it can be so much healthier without that stuff, but I guess some people just need all that to be in there as well, or it just doesn't work out or happen for them.
Yeah, whenever I left, I was Salvation Army, and then left it. The girlfriend at the time was still, quite Christian, but she went to like something like some weird church that was in a hotel. It was one of them. They don't have their own church. They had their own wee beliefs. They were out on their own. It happens all the time over in America. It's a wee bit weirder over here, but I went to that, and most people that I would talk to, I went to it with her because out of respect for her, and she wanted me to go. Me and a friend, I started bringing him, and we used to question the minister and the pastor at the end of it. But anyway, the point I'm aiming for is a lot of people in that congregation all had something bad in their life. I'd lost a daughter, somebody had been sick, this had happened, that has happened, I'm coming out of alcoholism, I used to be addicted to heroin, Yeah. But over here, unless something really strong, I think that's possibly why you only stayed in it for how many years were you a Christian?
I think around about two-ish.
Yeah. You went down that route possibly because of everybody around you is, and it's comfortable, and you want to be part of the gang, so to speak. And then when you actually do question it, because you don't go that far down into it deeply over here, fundamentals in America are different. Over here, the only reason you get down fucking religious in mine is you're either of a certain age group, most people our age and your age, and are starting to catch on that it's just a bit of bullshit. And unless something really drastic happens to you and you see a sign or something like that, it's not as strong over here. So it's good to find another UK person into this and interested in this that's, because it isn't like it is in America. It's not that strong over here.
Yeah. And I don't know exactly why that is, but I do think, if I'd had I see some of these fundamentalist parents or communities where everyone's so deep into that way of thinking and stuff. I can't imagine what that would be like to, I don't think this is true and I disagree.
Yeah, we have healthy discussions in our house, not over the Christmas dinner table or anything like that. We don't wait to the end, but I've had the religious conversation with my mum back and forth like that, and I've had it with the girlfriend. I haven't had it with my dad, because that's not something us men talk about. But I've lost my point. Where I was going with that. Yeah, but
just fundamentalism, I guess.
Yeah, we don't have that over here. We're willing to have them conversations. There's people in the chat, and there's people that I know that can go to their family at Christmas and they're not allowed to talk about religion because the other people take it so goddamn serious.
Yeah.
I don't know. It is hard to get our heads around it. I didn't know that fucking young Earth creationists existed until I went online and met Americans. Thanks, Americans.
Well, that's the thing. Well, I think that perhaps as I was questioning these things, some of the people who came into the church were these young Earth types, and I was like, wow, this is nuts. I can't deny reality to that degree. And that made me start to see the wood for the trees a little bit.
Yeah. Tony Designs, I don't know where he is. He was texting me all day saying that he was really looking forward to the interview and maybe would lay down for a nose before it. And I think he's fucking fallen asleep because he was like, if you open it up, I definitely want in. And he hasn't turned up yet. But if anybody else wants in, we're coming up in the hour. Make it known in the chat and we'll find a way of getting you the link. Yeah. Welcome to come in and... just if you want to poke fun at Rory or not Rory, sorry, poke fun at Rory. I see Rory with me da in the chat and he's caught me with me da. I don't know what you're talking about, Rory, but with me da. It's the way we say it over here. Poke fun at Nathan or question Nathan or if anybody wants to come in. Brian, I see you in the chat. Brian, you and Nathan could have a good chat. I know that's for certain. If you've got some spare time, Brian, we'll throw you a link. Brian, Brian? Brian is Biblical History Skeptics.
Oh, okay.
Sunday nights, if you're up for it, man, it's in around 12 o'clock on Biblical History Skeptics, where Brian goes through a wee bit of the Bible. There's only maybe about 7 of us there, but we hang out for the crack. We all it's a nice wee group of people that can chat, and there, I think it was 2 weeks ago, it was 2 weeks ago. Brian took the computer outside and cooked the turkey outside on the lawn with the barbecue while the stream was going. So it's good fun, and definitely give Brian, Biblical History Skeptics, a sub. Everybody, it's good fun. I don't know if we want people there on a Sunday night though. You might ruin all our private fun. I see you've brought some people with you as well. I appreciate that too, Nathan. Veracruz subbed and all, but yeah, jungle lessons, and I've seen you in the Discord. I haven't had a chance to actually talk that much in your Discord because there's that many of them popping up at the minute. And
I imagine. You're setting them all up as well, so. Yeah,
I know. So that makes everything 10 times worse because if nobody knows what they're fucking doing, you know. And modern day debate has absolutely exploded. It's younger than yours, I think, and 200 people or something in it already. It's absolutely massive. So there's a lot of having to keep permissions and check and things like that there, and making sure nobody's got too much control or power. And yeah, definitely. It's just, but I will definitely spend more time on it because your time zone suits me because we're UK. Yeah. But then at that time, I'm at work, so it's like trying to do it at work too. But yeah, does anybody want in from the chat? Brian, are you gonna jump in? Veracruz, I will give you control of Nathan's server in about a week or so. Honest to fuck, no, I even said it to someone the other day. I was like, that woman's just got hold of it and she's nearly mastered it. She's learned more than you've learned in 6 months in like 2 weeks. She has definitely made Carlbot her bitch. I don't get right. See, if anybody here, can you copy and paste, man? Because I'm doing the streaming, I can't copy and paste the link. Post the link in the chat. Can you do that? The StreamYard link.
Where are you putting the link? Sorry.
No, the StreamYard invite link that I sent you to join this.
Oh yeah. That was on. Here it was. Yeah, let me get it.
Just throw it in the chat because if I bring up a fucking screen, it'll appear on screen. Like.
Yeah, no problem. Oh, I need to be. I can't put web addresses in because I'm not an admin.
Type it on Moji.
Yeah.
That I can do. Oh, there you go. Go away, dog. Go away. Bad dog. Every time I go on stream, he wants attention. And he gets plenty of attention. It's only me and him.
What dog have you got?
I have a Jack Russell cross with a Staffy, and he turns 16 on April the 5th.
Right, there we go. I'm mod. So, link to join.
Let me see. Pot, come here. Come here. Come here. Come here. Come here a minute. I'll let you out in a minute. Come here. No, he just wants outside. I'll be back in a second. You do that.
Yeah, no problem, man. Shall we continue with Deathwood Stories? I don't even know what page I was on, so I can't, guys. Unfortunately. Yeah, sorry about that.
I was going to bring him up on camera, Veracruz, but he just wants out. We'll get him after he comes in from the toilet. The stream link is above you, Brian, in the chat. Spooky posted it. No, Nathan posted it just below you.
Yeah, it's there.
Where's my 3 people scene? 3 people scene. There's my 3 people scene.
I just what are you? Yeah, I was going to say, what are you using for the scene thingy?
Well, I have 2 screens. So I have the StreamYard on one screen, and then on the other screen I have OBS, and I am screen grabbing the other screen twice. Once for you, once for me.
Okay.
You can do it multiple times, you know, but if you have them all set up, so I've got it set up for up to 5 people. So when the other person jumps in, it's going to change the way that this looks. So I'd have to jump to a 3-person stream, but it's sitting there and building them. That's what takes the time, is sitting there and building them. If you have a 22-inch widescreen monitor, man, I can send you my settings. It's set up for that, but and the friend of mine, shout out to Easism Works, bad timing he's working at the minute, but he spent over a month on the background. See the pigsty background?
Oh, wow, really?
He spent over a
Awesome.
month on that, man. There must be like 50 layers. He individually did wee bits of the grass and blended the actual mud underneath the sow. And
Yeah.
oh, he
Wow.
did me 3 or 4. He did me a daytime one, a nighttime one, and all. I like the nighttime one the best, but no, he spent over a month doing that. If you're listening to the stream as well, I've got eyes for Kevin H. Kevin H isn't in the chat tonight. No, he made the background music for me. You can't hear it,
Okay.
but there is a little bit of background music when you listen back. So when it's completely quiet, there's even a wee bit of music running for the audience as well. It's
Right.
all through Streamlabs OBS.
Yeah.
And it sort of gets its way around, because if you use, Brian, 1 second, if you use it this way, you don't actually use any of your StreamYard minutes. So it doesn't
Right.
even, it's unlimited StreamYards for free.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, Brian's
Interesting,
working.
yeah.
Brian's working. But hold on. Ding. Ding. There we go. Hi, Brian.
Assalamu alaikum.
Hey.
How is yourself, my man?
Well, I'm alive.
How you weren't feeling well this Sunday. You didn't have a stream this Sunday because you weren't well. I hope you're feeling better.
Yeah, well, I had a stream this Sunday, just not the Sunday before last. I was sick with the flu,
Yeah.
so I was
Have you
just
heard-
popping sleep aids.
You haven't heard of Nathan before. Have you met Nathan? Nathan, this is Brian. Brian, this is
No,
Nathan.
I haven't had the pleasure. How are you, Nathan?
Yeah, I'm good, thanks, man. How are you doing?
Yeah, I think the two.
Yeah,
of
we
yous
just
are-
had one. We just had one of the machines here at the shop go up in smoke, so we were all outside while the stream was going on.
Oh no, what kind of machine?
Basically, CNC, computer numerical
Yeah, yeah.
control. Yeah, so evidently someone's machine started grinding on a carbide blank and the coolant didn't turn on. So
Okay.
it created a spark and then a bright flame and then a big, huge plume of smoke. So thankfully the fire alarm did not go off. We did not have to wait outside this time.
Well, it's good that you didn't burn down.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's just what I need to make this week perfect. I just get over the flu, and oh, by the way, you don't have to come into work tomorrow. There's no more shop. So let me know if the machine shop noise gets to be too much.
No, considering what I've heard you online on your audio, you're doing really well.
Surprisingly.
No, Brian got a new mic there a wee while ago, and I think it was the USB port you were using, and it just had a constant, like a wee whine in the background that he couldn't hear.
No,
Oh, okay.
it was the actual mic itself. It was a cheap $24 mic, and I went through 2 of them. And because it didn't matter, because I used every USB port I had, and it didn't matter. It would be buzzing, obnoxious buzzing sound in the background intermittently. So I just went and decided to spend $30-40 more, and the problem went away. So I'm like, okay.
Yeah, 50,
You
60.
don't, yeah, you don't buy cheap. It's not worth it.
Yeah, 50, 60 quid seems to be around the sweet spot for a nice mic. Like, you can splash out and you can probably buy second hand. You can get a nice blue, is it a blue Yeti for about 83
Right.
quid in cash converters. But no, there's good ones out there. Mine, I only paid 40 odd pound for mine off Amazon, and I think it's a cracking wee mic with a boom filter and the stand, everything, the whole lot, USB plug and play. But we'll not talk about tack. I actually have a tack stream lined up with Nerdy. If you know of Nerdy Rodent, he is a technical
Okay.
wee man. He does fractal videos while he sings in the bath, and spends a lot of time rendering. Very technical man. Never appears on screen. He's always a pickle. Comes on screen as a pickle. But we're going to have an interview with him. He's in the community. Everybody in the chat that's a regular here will know Nerdy Rodent. And he's very
Oh, yes,
technical.
fine.
So me and him's going to have a technical hangout where anybody wants to come and ask questions, or I don't know what we're going to do, but let's talk geeky stuff. Technical stuff is what it's titled, something like that. So yeah, come and learn with MathPig. Woo!
It's actually pretty difficult, like like setting up all the equipment right so as you've got good audio and stuff. I've found like that is genuinely something that no one seems to have like a convenient answer to that doesn't cost you £1,000.
My TV was free. My mic was 50 quid. And it's sorted. It's just positioning the mic, get a 3 condenser mic that picks up no sound from behind it and aim the mic away from the TV and have the TV. My sweet spot is 28. If I go above 28 in the volume, people get feedback.
Oh, okay.
So I can listen to you quite loudly, you know, as loud as I was watching the TV, and people can't hear you because of the positioning of where I have my mic.
Interesting. Yeah, that's cool.
That was my workaround. Although Nerdy is going, there's Nerdy there. He's just turned up. He's going to teach me Voice Meter Banana, and Voice Meter Banana gives you 3 inputs and 2 outputs, and you can pick and choose where the outputs go.
Yeah. I used to do that when I was doing my podcast, but because it like takes over your sound card, I got loads of weird side effects from that I didn't want when I was like trying to.
I had it for about 3 weeks, couldn't figure it out, binned it. Figured out this with the mic, because I used to have the mic in the middle and then it was picking up everything, always getting an audio, and then I was like, fuck, I could move it over here, and played with it. And yeah, I am 2 foot from the TV at a third of its maximum volume and you can't hear any echo. Well, it's a workaround. It's a cheat, but it's a workaround. It's a good workaround. It works.
Yeah, mine's doing okay. I think I've steadily improved the quality a little bit. I don't know. We'll see how it keeps going. So you're still a Christian or deist, Andrew? I don't know, Andrew. I think agnostic is really the best label for me, if there is one.
And just leaving it at that. Not being fancy, not sticking any other words back and forth on it, not saying middle, top, or bottom or anything like that. Just agnostic.
Yeah.
Well, that was going to be my question. What brand of Christianity did you belong to?
Yeah, I was in like the Church of England, which is everything really. The church I was going to, low church, kind of conservative evangelical, but my sympathies were always towards more like high church kind of theology, I guess, and a lot of like I was interested in a lot of the writings of more. I still am interested in the writings of a lot of the more traditional authors, and a lot of them happen to be like Catholic or stuff like that. And I'm not kind of like worshipping the Reformation like a lot of those sort of people seem to. I just unplugged my screen.
Well, there you go. I turned the TV off earlier when I was talking to you beforehand. Right, let me see here. I'm going to... I don't know if this is going to work. Right. Rory. Evening, Rory. Are you there,
Oh,
Rory?
good evening.
Good evening.
Evening, Mr. MathPig, isn't it, I think?
It's just MathPig, man. Just MathPig. How's yourself, Rory?
I'm fine, actually.
Good.
A bit windy here. I was going to talk to you about the weather.
Yeah, it ripped a spout off the outside of work and flew down near, hit my fucking car. Ripped a spout clean off the side of the wall. You could have leant into it on a hill and it would have kept you stood up. It was very windy here not so much today, but yesterday was absolutely insane. If anybody wants to look up pictures of Warren Point or Kilkeel, the sea is literally coming up over onto the road and going in about 15 foot with the wind.
Well, I had part of my fence disappear this afternoon down in southwest England, so I guess we got it a bit later. But
was it England or was it the M1? I think it might have been the M1 or the M2 that there was an actual trampoline this morning sitting in the middle of the motorway, as if somebody had just left it there, just ready to go.
Oh, right.
I
saw that. I saw that on YouTube. Yeah. Sorry, Twitter, I think.
Yeah, just sitting there in the middle of the motorway. You're not getting any of that, Nathan, no?
Well, it was. I thought it was pretty windy this morning, but nothing crazy like that. No.
I think it's named Brenda. I think it's Storm Brenda.
No, I've not had it. Not even. I don't even watch the news, so.
Yeah, I don't watch the news, but you couldn't help but miss this thing, man. It was absolutely and utterly insane. Rory, have you any questions for Nathan? Rory is a Catholic.
Okay.
He's also from England. So, Rory, have you any questions for Nathan?
Well, I suppose the only boring one I can think of is, what do you think about transubstantiation?
Oh, I basically think that I don't want to ruffle feathers here, but I think it was basically an attempt to incorporate Aristotle's philosophy into the church during the scholastic period, but it's not necessarily like anything that's happening in reality. I don't know. I guess, yeah, I just don't. I don't think. I don't believe the philosophy behind it is true. But if there were, if there were a God that exists, I don't see why it couldn't be something that happens. I just don't think we have good reason to think that that's the way the world is. That the accident can change, but the incidence remains the same. How would we ever go about verifying that or knowing? And then it's like, well, do we know it because we're getting our truth from theological texts? Well, how do we know that we're forming true beliefs when we read this text? And obviously the Catholic answer there, you've got the magisterium and everything, but I still don't get how that's like really more warranted than like if I just create a bigger group of people. So yeah, there's so much to it. My opinion on transubstantiation is I don't think it's true, but yeah.
Good answer. Good answer. Well said.
I'll host that discussion.
One more question, if I may.
Go on ahead, Roy.
Mr. MathPig. Oh, my daughter's just come in.
Stormont. Said hello.
What about Stormont Parliament?
About what? Sorry, I didn't catch that.
Sorry, this was a question for MathPig.
I still haven't had a chance to read any paperwork not paperwork or any news feeds or anything about it, man. I don't watch the news, and I've been at work. I was very busy the day after work, and I literally, in all honesty, it doesn't excite me that much, and I've no real interest because I know that they'll just fall out and they'll probably not agree to anything.
But how long has it been closed for? Must be what, a couple of years now?
3 years. We had no government for 3 years.
3 years.
Yeah, it's just boring, man. 3 years of no government, you sort of lose interest in the government. Even fucking picking on them, you lose interest in it, But it's not worthwhile. I'd love to organise a chat. If you're free any Thursday, I know Richard would definitely not mind, but having a chat with Richard, he's asked me, I'm sure he would definitely be up for having a chat with you, Nathan. He would be considered a heretic or an ex-alien or ancient alien or, but sort of that route. But it's...
What's his view then, sorry?
He's a wee bit of an ancient alien. That would be the best way to very shortly put it across to you.
Oh, okay.
It's very it's very in depth though. It is very, very in depth, man. He has written a 59,000 word paper on it and has covered his ass from top to bottom. And I was having a conversation. If anyone remember Sammy Jenkins, he said this today in Jay's stream. Jay Passick's another man you should sub to. The conversations that randomly appear on his channel are very worthwhile having. And no, Richard is just Richard. You need to just come talk to Richard. He's an ancient alien sort of guy, and he's very in depth. You need to come talk to Richard. It's good fun, and I'm sure any Thursday if you're free at the same time as tonight, man, we do a show. We're going through the Book of Enoch together. Okay. He's reading it. He read it once before years ago when he wasn't a Christian, so to speak. And now he's reading it for the first time with me from this point of view that he's holding and trying to justify it as we go along. So
that's really interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, and he has promised me, and he's a genuine man, he's promised me he won't read ahead and think ahead, and he's coming off the fly and off the hook as we read it, as we go along. And the Sammy Jenkins thing I was saying that it was on Jay's stream today. He went and looked up an ancient Aboriginal story of creation, and it matches what Richard says.
Okay.
There's a lot. Richard's done an awful lot of research on it. You should, if you're free on Thursday, man.
I think Thursday evening. I think I am. Yeah, I think I am.
Yeah, well, we do it every Thursday, but I'll talk to him and see about maybe doing it this Thursday or next Thursday or anything like that. Yeah, that would be an awful lot of fun. Like, Angie, thank you for joining. Sorry for ignoring you there.
Hi guys, how you doing?
I'm doing well. Angie, this is Nathan, this is Angie Dell 66. She has her own wee channel where she does Ask a Granny and things like that. Doesn't really get involved in the arguments and the debates and things that we have, but is in the background just being a nice person.
Hello again, Angie.
Nice to see you.
You too.
How's yourself, Angie?
I is doing good.
Have you any questions for Nathan?
No, my problem is I've missed the beginning and I didn't catch it until almost the end, so I'm gonna have to go back and watch some more. But I always like meeting new people, so it's very nice to meet you.
Thank
Seem
you.
like a genuinely good human. So
Yeah, I'm
humans
here
are
to.
good.
I'm here just saying that you all need to stop loving your sin and repent and believe, or you'll burn in hell forever.
No, really? Okay. 'Cause I would have something to say about that.
That does bring sweet memories of Sunday school.
Oh, no, too
No,
much
I'm
Sunday
okay.
school. Too much Sunday school.
I'm okay. I did that for 40 odd years. I'm tired of it. So
Yeah, it does get tiring after a while, doesn't it? So we're going to
Yeah.
do another 15 minutes or so, take some questions from the chat. I think for anybody, everybody's always open to answer a few questions when they're on here. You don't really have a choice. So if we have any questions from the chat for anybody here, we'll round it up in the next 10, 15 minutes. Nathan, if you want to do another wee shill for yourself, have you got anything coming up? Any debates or...
I actually don't. I think I'm going to be talking to Paul Vanderklay again at some point. And he's kind of more interested in the Christian position. He thinks a lot from like a psychological point of view and kind of more like a Jordan Peterson type guy. Anything specific planned outside of that? Oh yes, a guy called Sam Wilkins, who's a Christian Universalist as well. I'm going to be having a conversation with him, and I think that's all that's planned. But I keep people generally around 1 or 2 conversations a week. So
yeah, if you can figure out how to schedule them ahead of time, I'll throw the links for them in the description. So whenever people see this, they can go down and then go and watch that.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks, man. I appreciate it.
Perfect. Spooky, big shout out for Spooky in the chat doing the head mod thing. Spooky was supposed to be the first person I ever moderated, but he missed my first stream, so he ended up not being the first. I had to mod him afterwards. He got all upset, but Spooky helped me get into the community. He's a fantastic man and one of the people I mentioned earlier that I would trust my life with. Brian, have you anything coming up just Sunday? Well, not to say just Sunday. I was shouting about how class Sunday is earlier.
Yeah, we've moved into the Book of Acts, and I'm still trying to get through the biography of Marcus Agrippa by Jane Howell. So I've been reading excerpts from the chapters of that book. It's about around the time of Christ, so I thought the biography would go hand in hand with the History Skeptics show with the Book of Acts, which details basically Paul's missionary journeys around 50, 60, 80, somewhere around there. We're trying to find me and Sammy Jenkins are trying to find a historian that focuses mainly on the Apostle Paul and what we can verify, what we know, not just based on his epistles, but, well, actually they would be based on his epistles because that's mostly what we have to go on. But I wanted somebody, I'm trying to find somebody that has like a Bart Ehrman type approach to the topic of the Apostle Paul that kind of gives a historian angle instead of a theological fundamentalist. So, if anybody has any pointers on that,
did you read N.T. Wright's book on it?
No.
N.T. Wright's got a book on Paul that was quite popular about a year or 2 ago. I think it's called Paul, a Biography or something like that.
Put it in the private chat, man. I'll make sure Brian gets it.
Yeah, I'll put it on from Amazon.
Yeah, just put it into the StreamYard private chat. I'll make sure that Brian gets it.
And I think of Paul, it makes me think of if one of us confirmed atheist did not change our views, but decided to start our own religion or, say, oh, look, now I believe again. It's like, I don't know, he was a bad guy, and then he had this magic thing happen to him that nobody else saw, and all of a sudden he's the good guy telling everybody else how to be. And no, he was a scurvy dog, so I don't have a high opinion of Paul. He was very bossy.
Yeah, a lot of what Paul wrote pretty shaped a lot of Christianity that we.
Yeah, it is really appalling, very stylish church like.
Yeah, I spent a lot of time listening to what he had to say, and not what the actual Thord might have had to say in the same situation.
Right.
So.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah.
It's like, how does Paul get to speak for all of Christianity?
Yeah, who dad made you boss, buddy? Right?
Right.
But because he had a special moment, and
yeah, like they say, they say the victors write the history. So yeah, Paul's brand of Christianity kind of won out as far as popularity.
The thing that sold me out was when I started looking into where did the current version, current translations or whatever of the Bible come from, and it was, you start looking into the actual history that's recorded and readable and findable by everyone, not just in the special book, and it just was, like the walls come tumbling down, because once the book is not perfect, then everything kind of falls apart after that. At least it did for me.
Question from the chat from Wonder Lady. Do the people on the panel feel like they can be baited easily by shit stirrers, or does it take work?
Say the question again.
Do the people on the panel feel like they can be baited easily by shit stirrers, or does it take work? Which I feel like is a bit of a shit stirring question, but
that's fine. That's Wonder Lady.
For me, yeah. About a year and a half ago, that definitely would have been me.
I try to stay out of the doo-doo, so if I can see it coming, I'll go around and avoid it.
Yes.
It takes a lot for me to be really pissed off with you. You'll know it when it happens, but it takes a wee bit of work.
See, for me, I was the exact opposite. I would have taken the bait and just run with it, and I would have had a grand old time.
Oh no,
especially when I discovered Facebook debate groups for the first time. It was like, are you serious? 25,000 people in one group? Are you kidding? What could go wrong, right?
I found out that I was on a troll list on a server because of hanging around with certain people that had been attacked by trolls, and the particular night that they decided to attack me, the way they do it supposedly is put it up on the Discord so it's only one view but everybody can watch it, and be in the chat without giving the view, if you understand what I mean.
Yeah.
And there was 14 people watching and 30 people playing Quiplash. And it was the big gay stream for my New Year's Eve, I think it was, Angie. It was the most viewed video on my channel now. Yeah, brilliant. It's interactivity. We trolled them back. It was fun. They enjoyed it, and they never come back again. Never come back again. I don't let it bother me.
It's activity on the channel, and that's all the algorithm sees. They don't give a crap why they're watching, just that they are.
The only thing I ask if you're going to come and troll this channel is troll it properly. Don't be coming in with all babies and this, that and the other and all. Actually come up with something a bit outside of the 16 to 18 age group, Grow up a wee bit and troll me properly. Come up with something original. That's all I ask. Make it entertaining for the crowd. Let's all have a laugh. Trolls need love too.
I agree.
Well, on that note, Nathan, thank you very, very much. I really appreciate. Oh, Angie, I didn't give you a chance. When's your Ask a Granny?
Tomorrow, I should have a new episode of Ask Granny up, or at least some sort of video. If y'all want to see Granny, somebody better go leave me a question on my Twitter or on my channel under one of the other Ask Granny videos. Questions are scarce right now, so nobody wants Granny's advice.
Yeah, and you do afternoon delights as well. You had an afternoon delight earlier today, I think.
Yeah, did
Yeah,
that. That's
I was there for a wee
Tuesday.
while, but then I had stuff to do, so I had to leave, and then there was that other stuff on the other channel. I don't know, right? Well, on that, Nathan, thank you very much. I really appreciate you coming
no
on.
problem.
It's good conversation.
you.
I definitely hope to see more of you. And yeah, everybody go and give the man a look. We lurk. Keep an eye out. Join his Discord. Is anybody in the chat? Yeah, you've got your mod man, haven't you? If you want people in, it's up to yourself. But everybody in the chat now are all good people. There's 25 watching, but yeah, everybody in the chat that's physically actually using their fingers to type, I can vouch for. So they're all good people. All good people. So thanks everybody for turning up. Really appreciate it. Angie, Brian, Nathan. Yeah, love for everybody. And on that, bye-bye.